The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with my latest haul of collection update of Transformers action figures. One of them showed up out of the blue, which I was surprised to see, but we'll get into that in a moment. But anyways, this is just a quick collection update video showing you my most recent addition to my Transformers collection. So, courtesy of Amazon.com, I have the last two deluxe figures I was waiting to add to my collection from, I believe, the most recent wave of Age of the Primes is Wave 5. So here are the two mini-bots of Power Glide and Swerve. Power Glide is a brand new mold, while Swerve is a retool of Legacy Gears. And I'm really thrilled that these guys finally showed up from Amazon. I got Smokescreen and Ratchet, who are Swerve and Power Glide's two of the wave mates that are come with them from Amazon 2 weeks before these guys showed up. So yeah, for some reason Amazon didn't distribute the figures in Wave 5 of Age of the Primes evenly out. Smokescreen and Ratchet, which are the Transformers Prime version of Smokescreen and Animated Ratchet, they came out from Amazon before Power Glide and Swerve showed up. I believe Armada Sideways appeared before Nexus Prime did. And for the Leader class figures, there's technically only one that's brand new. I thought he would have become available at the same time as the Voyager class figures, but I was proven wrong. Amazon waited a couple of weeks to release him. So here is a figure that I was really excited to add to my collection. It is Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Liege Maximo. So, since Nexus Prime, despite being released in the same wave as one of the Voyager class figures, since he came out a few weeks before, Liege Maximo did on Amazon, technically Liege Maximo holds the title of being the 12th of the 13 original Primes to be released in the Age of the Primes line, the line that has their name on it. But technically, even though the 13th prime of the 13 primes that hasn't been released in the Age of the Primes line yet, it is Vector Prime who, according to the reports that Hasbro gave out about Vector Prime, he's going to be a retool of the Legacy Voyager class Vector Prime figure that we got in the Legacy line. I can't remember off the top of my head if Vector Prime came out in Legacy Evolution in 2023 or if he was in Legacy Year 1 in 2022, but technically, if you have the Legacy version of Vector Prime, then Liege Maximo is the final of the 13 primes that's been given a modern Chug style action figure in the Age of the Primes line. So, for most fans and collectors, Liege Maximo is the last member of the 13 primes to have been given a modern action figure. So yeah, I'm really thrilled to have him in my collection. And lastly, the fourth and final Transformers figure that makes up this haul of Transformers action figures here in my collection is one that I said a moment ago at the start of the video came up out of the blue, and that's because this figure literally showed up on my porch yesterday. I looked out at the porch of my house and saw the box sitting there, and I could not believe it. It arrived without any notification, no emails from Hasbro saying it's shipped, it's on its way here. There are no notifications whatsoever. It literally came and appeared, and I think that's been the case with a lot of collectors who got this figure pre-ordered it when it first came out. And so here is I was under the impression that this figure wasn't going to come out until maybe sometime during the autumn or winter, sometime between September and December of this year for Christmas, but it was still a nice surprise to get it here at this time of the year. And so I am pleased to announce that I have added the figure that, for me, is the crown jewel of my Transformers collection for the year 2026, which is the year when I'm recording this video. And so here is the Transformers HasLab Lio-Kaiser. So yeah, Lio-Kaiser has shown up out of nowhere. He is finally here, and I am just really thrilled to have this latest Transformers HasLab product in my Transformers collection. I missed out on the previous HasLab Transformer that came out that was released last year in 2025, which was the Omega Prime box set, which contained the what are the official Generations Chug style action figures of the Robots in Disguise 2001 AK car robot versions of Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. That previous HasLab of Omega Prime has become the most controversial of the HasLab Transformers products, because right before it was announced that the car robots versions of Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus were going to be a crowd-funded HasLab project. Right before Hasbro announced that there weren't going to be any Optimus Prime action figures that were going to be released as crowd-funded HasLab projects. And so, for Hasbro to announce, literally, I want to say it was months maybe it was weeks, but I think it was a few months after making that announcement, that none of the crowd-funded HasLab Transformers characters, none of them were Optimus Prime was not going to be one of them, and for them to just blatantly announce, "Oh, sorry, we lied. The car robots version of Optimus Prime is going to be one of the HasLab Transformers." Yeah, the Transformers fans and collectors have not trusted Hasbro's announcements since then. Some announcements from Hasbro, such as dates when certain action figures would be released, or certain characters that were going to be released at certain times, or some characters that were going to be released completely. Hasbro, the final action figure Transformers products, we've got action figures of certain characters, and ones Hasbro said they would either release or were going to be cancelled. Hasbro hasn't been honest with the announcements as to which Transformers action figures are going to be released and when they will be released, and if they will be exclusives or being released at mass retail. Also, a lot of Transformers fans and collectors don't even trust Hasbro's announcements as far as which Transformers action figures are going to be HasLab crowdfunded projects and which ones are going to be released as exclusives either at Walmart or Target here in the United States, or maybe even Amazon, or if they're going to be released at mass retail. Although, if I remember correctly, last year during the Age of the Primes line, I don't think any of the exclusives that were released were exclusive to Amazon, so maybe Hasbro let their contract with Amazon selling exclusive Transformers on their website ran out, and Hasbro's just going to release exclusive Transformers either on their own website, Hasbro.com, Hasbro Pulse is what it was the name I lost there for a moment, or they're going to be the exclusive figures will be released at Target or Walmart. That's what I at least noticed with all of the exclusives that were released during the first year of the Age of the Primes line last year in 2025. None of the exclusive Transformers were sold at Amazon, but I could be incorrect, and maybe I've been under so much stress with my job and my family that I've forgotten about if there were any exclusives released through Amazon on last year. I probably should have checked the Transformers Wikipedia, but at least all the exclusives I wanted to buy last year came either from Walmart or Target, or they were released on Hasbro Pulse. But also, not all, but most of the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Transformers action figures do eventually get released on Amazon, or if they aren't released exclusively to Walmart, Target, or Hasbro Pulse, they're released as shared internet exclusives, which means they're available on just about any website that sells Transformers. They just don't appear on the shelves at brick and mortar Target and Walmart stores. But enough of my babbling. I am just really thrilled with the box art that's used here for Lyle Kaiser. That red grid pattern background design was, I believe, used in Transformers Victory as the animation for when Transformers characters appear. And I just love how even though we're now in the Age of the Primes line, when Lyle Kaiser was first announced, it was during the Legacy Trilogy, so it says here that HasLab Lyle Kaiser, despite being released in 2026, he's actually a part of the Transformers Legacy line, because the Transformers Legacy logo is printed here on his box in metallic purple to show that he's a Decepticon. So, just like the previous action figure of Lyle Kaiser that was released by Hasbro, which was the Transformers Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser, the Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser infamously was not only the final Transformers action figure to be released in the Combiner Wars line when he was released in November of 2016, but Combiner Wars Lyle Kaiser was also the final Transformers product to be released in the adult collector targeted subline of Transformers that was named Platinum Edition. The Transformers Platinum Edition line was a short-lived line that lasted, I want to say, about 4, maybe 5 years between 2011 to 2012, and then it ended in November of 2016 when the Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser was released. So yeah, Lyle Kaiser, his previous action figure from the Combiner Wars line, it not only brought an official end to the Combiner Wars line, but it also brought an official end to Transformers Platinum Edition. And unless we get any Transformers Generation Selects action figures that have the Transformers Legacy logo on them, which I don't believe we are, because the most recent Transformers action figures that have come out in the online exclusive Generation Selects subline of Transformers, which I got the Generation 2 Dinobots from, which were released in the Generation Selects line. Lyle Kaiser here, he is officially the final Transformers product to be released in the Legacy line. And one thing that Hasbro and Takara Tomy did with the Age of the Primes line last year in 2025, even though Age of the Primes on the Transformers Wikipedia states that it's still a subline of Transformers Generations, the Transformers Generations logo hasn't actually appeared on the Transformers Age of the Primes boxes. Just bringing up Swerve back here for an example. The word Transformers Generations, the logo has not been used on the Transformers Age of the Primes line. So because of that, officially, Age of the Primes is actually a successor to the Transformers Generations line, which ran for 15 years from 2010 to 2025, when the last Legacy Transformers came out. So since Lyle Kaiser here is now officially the last Transformers product released as part of the Transformers Legacy line and also Transformers Generations, technically Lyle Kaiser is the last Transformers Generations action figure that we've gotten. And even though the action figures in the Age of the Primes line are compatible with figures from the Transformers Generations line and all of its sublines, from Legacy going back to the OG, going all the way back actually to the Transformers Classics line that was released way back in 2006. So yeah, this year marks the 20th anniversary of when the current year of when I'm recording this video is 2026, and this year marks the 20th anniversary of when the Transformers Classics line was launched. So it's 20 years that we've been getting Chug-style Transformers action figures from Hasbro and Takara Tomy. And so, for me personally, it's amazing that the Generations line, even though it had subline after subline continuing, the Generations line technically lasted 15 years from 2010 to 2015 before it was finally ended and succeeded by the Transformers Age of the Primes line. Whether or not Hasbro and Takara Tomy will bring back the Transformers Generations logo for the Evolution of the Primes line, which is the sequel line to Transformers Age of the Primes, that remains to be seen. The Generations logo was also removed from the Transformers Studio Series line, just as the characters from the Generation 1 Transformers film, which was officially named Transformers the Movie. The number 86 was removed from the boxes of those figures, so technically the Studio Series 86 subline of Studio Series ended also last year in 2025. But most fans and collectors haven't stopped calling them by the titles that they had before 2025, when the Age of the Primes and the new Studio Series packaging replaced the ones that had been used in the previous years before. But yeah, it's really interesting to know that because he was first announced back in, I think, the crowdfunding for Lyle Kaiser happened 2 years ago in 2024, which gave the designers at both Hasbro and Takara Tomy 2 years to design the figure based on the prototype and the stock and the photos of the prototype that came out for them and for Team Lyle Kaiser. But yeah, I'm really thrilled. to see Lyle Kaiser being the final farewell to the Transformers Legacy Trilogy and the Transformers Generations line, which after Studio Series, Transformers Generations having lasted for 15 years from 2010 to 2015, it's the second longest lasting line of Transformers action figures that's ever existed. Studio Series, actually I think Generations is the longest lasting line of Transformers that's ever existed, since it lasted 15 years from 2010 to 2025. Studio Series might be, it holds the title of, I think, the longest continuing line of Transformers action figures that didn't change the name, even though the Generations logo has appeared on every Chug-style Transformers action figure that was released across the 15-year timeline from 2010 to 2025. There were different sublines that had the main title for it, so Studio Series holds the title of longest line of Transformers action figures in which the name didn't change and there weren't sublines to it. And even though there were sublines to it, the overall name of the main line didn't change that much. So, yeah, Studio Series and Generations have been the longest lasting lines of Transformers action figures. So, on that note, for many Transformers fans and collectors, the characters we've gotten as HasLab crowdfunded crowdfunded projects. A lot of Transformers fans and collectors feel that the HasLab crowdfunded project shouldn't have even been started on these figures. If not released at mass retail, they should have been released as exclusives, either through Hasbro Pulse or even Walmart or Target or Amazon, one of Hasbro's main distributors, because once the crowdfunding stops, then the figures, then the time to buy the figure at retail price comes to an end, and the only way you'll be able to get a HasLab crowdfunded Transformers action figure after the crowdfunding campaign ends, and the only way you're going to be able to get these figures is on the aftermarket, either through eBay or Amazon are the two most common websites that HasLab crowdfunded Transformers action figures appear for sale, and they go for double the retail price of what they originally retailed for. Or, if I remember off the top of my head, I believe the retail price for Lyle Kaiser here was $300, so he's he has double the price tag of a Titan class Transformers action figure, so he now holds the title of the most expensive combiner Transformer that Hasbro has ever released here in North America. I don't know if Lyle Kaiser holds the title of most expensive combiner that's ever been released by Takara Tomy in Japan, but yeah, I'm just really thrilled to have these guys. Even though I have the Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser, I've had that action figure in my Transformers collection since he was released back in November of 2016. The Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser, infamously, it swapped out Lyle Kaiser's two torso bots in favor of a repaint of the Combiner Wars version of Skylinks done in Deathsaurus's, with Deathsaurus's name and having the paint job of the two figures that form Lyle Kaiser's torso. So it was the Combiner Wars version of Lyle Kaiser, putting it bluntly, is nowhere near as accurate to the original Generation 1 Lyle Kaiser action figure that Takara Tomy exclusively released in Japan. And during the run of Transformers Victory, which the Transformers Victory logo appears down here. So, unfortunately, just like most of the other characters we've gotten that appeared in Transformers Victory that were quote-unquote large-sized eyes, Victory Saber and Deathsaurus, we now have another Transformers character from Transformers Victory that's been released as a HasLab crowdfunded project. And also getting released. So yeah, that's really depressing to know that so many Transformers characters from Transformers Victory have been released as HasLab crowdfunded projects instead of not even being released as an exclusive either to a store or to a website or even on the internet in general. The only character from Transformers Victory that's been released at mass retail, as far as I'm aware of, that's been released at mass retail by Hasbro has been Galaxy Shuttle, only because Galaxy Shuttle was a repaint of Astro Train, and after the first release of him, which was during the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 line back in 2023, in which he was a Walmart exclusive, Hasbro released Galaxy Shuttle for a second time during the Transformers Legacy United line in 2024 at mass retail. So yeah, Galaxy Shuttle's the only Transformers Victory character I know of who's been given a mass retail released figure. I have several Transformers characters from the Japanese exclusive seasons of Transformers Generation 1, Super God Master Force, the Headmasters, Victory, and Zone in my Transformers collection, but looking around at most of the ones I have from the Japanese exclusive line, seasons of Transformers Generation 1, just giving my collection a quick glimpse around. Most of the figures have been either released exclusively by Takara Tomy in Japan, or if they ones that were released by Hasbro, just like Leo Kaiser, they were a HasLab crowdfunded project, or they were released as exclusives in general. But most of the Japanese G1 Transformers characters from the Headmasters, Super God Master Force, Victory, and Zone, they've been released as exclusives in the United States. Galaxy Shuttle's the only one from Victory that I'm aware of, and to stop myself from repeating, as far as other characters from the Headmasters, Super God Master Force, Victory, and Zone that have been released in mass retail, apart from Galaxy Shuttle, other ones that were released at mass retail included Overlord, who was released in Titan's Return, Black Shadow, who was renamed Sky Shadow and was also sold in Titan's Return. But as far as the Japanese exclusive characters, technically we got Metal Hawk, who was released at mass retail in the Legacy line in 2022, and then again in Legacy Evolution with a different paint job in 2023. So we got a handful of Japanese exclusive characters that have been given mass retail released figures by Hasbro, such as Galaxy Shuttle, Overlord, Metal Hawk, Black Shadow, and yeah, most of the vast majority of the Japanese exclusive G1 Transformers characters have been the Chug style figures of them have been released either as exclusives by Hasbro in one form or another, or they were released exclusively by Takara Tomy in Japan, and they've never seen a mass retail release in North American markets. I guess the fear from Hasbro and Takara Tomy is that if the more obscure Japanese G1 Transformers characters were given mass retail release, that there wouldn't be a large enough fan base in the United States that would be willing to buy them at mass retail, and they would probably just be shelf warmers since most collectors wouldn't recognize them at first glance. But I prefer when Transformers action figures, regardless of how much popularity or lack thereof, and how much obscurity the characters have, I prefer them being released at mass retail instead of as exclusives. So yeah, for me personally, my general consensus with as far as crowdfunded HasLab Transformers products, no. I would have preferred if these guys had been released exclusively through Hasbro Pulse, but not through crowdfunding. But that's just my opinion. So this video's gone on much longer than I wanted, but it's been a while since I made a video, and I just wanted to get a lot of stuff off of my mind. So this has been the TF Geek. This has been my latest haul of Transformers action figures, courtesy of Amazon. I got the final figures from Wave 5 of Transformers Age of the Primes that I wanted to add to my collection, which included Deluxe Class, Power Glide, and Swerve. Since I got Legacy Vector Prime, technically this is the final member of the 13 Primes that I've added to my Transformers collection. We've got Leader Class Liege Maximo. And one last thing I would like to say is that with the release of Swerve and Power Glide in Wave 5 of the Age of the Primes line, and with their release, I believe there is only one mini-bot left from Transformers Generation 1 that still has to be given a Deluxe Class figure in the a Deluxe Class sized action figure in the Age of the Primes line, aka Generations, aka Chug. style of Transformers figures. The last mini-bot to be given a deluxe figure is Tailgate, who historically has been a retool of Windcharger, but considering the fact that Windcharger was released in the Studio Series 86 line at the tail end of 2025, I'm actually not surprised that we haven't gotten an announcement for Tailgate being retooled from him yet, but hopefully it'll happen before the year 2026 comes to an end. So yeah, the biggest surprise for me this weekend was Lyle Kaiser showing up out of nowhere from Hasbro Pulse. So yeah, the latest HasLab crowdfunded Transformers project action figure has finally arrived. Lyle Kaiser is here in all his splendor and glory, and yeah, we will see how he looks and how he turns out here. Turning the box around, I've been showing the front off until now. I've been trying to save. I was hoping to save the rest for when I got into reviewing him, but I know you guys are eager to see the rest of the box. So here on the top of the box, we got Lyle Kaiser in his combined mode holding his weapons, and the Transformers Victory logo along with his name, AIM printed in English there on the top of the box. On the side of the box, you've got the 6 main teammates who combine to form Lyle Kaiser. You've got the team leader, Leozak. You've then got Guy Hawk, who forms Lyle Kaiser's right side arm. You've got Kill Bison, who forms Lyle Kaiser's right side leg. You've got Jaguar, who forms the lower half of Lyle Kaiser's torso. Leozak forms the upper half of the torso. You've got Drillhorn, who forms the left side leg for Lyle Kaiser. And last but definitely by no means least, you've got Hellbat, who's been renamed L-Bat here on Lyle Kaiser's box, because apparently even when it's a crowd-funded HasLab project, Hasbro doesn't want to print the word Hell on anything related to Transformers. So yeah, in the Combiner Wars line, Hellbat's name was Hellbat was renamed Fellbat. And so yeah, they just removed the first letter entirely, and now he's known as L-Bat. But yeah, there's supposed to be a letter H in front of his name, and he's supposed to be named Hellbat. The fact that Kill Bison got to keep his original Generation 1 name, AIM, but Hellbat couldn't, that really surprises me that Hasbro decided the word kill is appropriate to print on the box, but the word hell is not. I honestly don't know why that would be the case, but yeah, that's the biggest surprise for me there, is seeing that Hellbat couldn't get his original copyrighted name on here. You got the word Transformers printed again in metallic purple to show that Lyle Kaiser is a Decepticon through and through. You've got the Transformers Victory logo tilting the box right side up, and then you've got all of the Decepticons who combine to form Lyle Kaiser here on the side of the box. You've got box art for Drillhorn, Guy Hawk, Hellbat, Leozak, Jaguar, Kill Bison, and then you got a 7th Decepticon here on the bottom. And if you come around here to the back of the box, you'll find the identity of that 7th Decepticon, and it is Death Cobra. So, long story short, in the Transformers Victory cartoon, Hellbat lived up to his name by causing hell, not just for the Autobots that the Decepticons fought, but also for his fellow teammates who combine into Lyle Kaiser. That's because Hellbat wanted to create as much chaos and wreak as much havoc on all the Transformers, whether they be enemies or allies. And Leozak, the team leader of Lyle Kaiser, had finally had enough of Hellbat constantly backstabbing and betraying the other Decepticons who formed Lyle Kaiser. So Leozak banished him from Lyle Kaiser's team, and while Hellbat was banished from the team, Leozak found a replacement Transformer who could transform into Lyle Kaiser's left side arm, and arm replacing Hellbat completely, and that character was a Decepticon named Death Cobra. So yeah, just like Kill Bison, it amazes me that Death Cobra has the same name that he had in the Transformers Victory cartoon. So yeah, it surprises me that Hasbro decided that the word death was appropriate to print on the box, but not the word hell. Also, yeah, Death Cobra was a character that was created originally for the Transformers Victory cartoon, and because of he was a character created originally for the Transformers Victory cartoon, he never got an action figure in the Transformers Generation 1 line, and when the crowdfunding for Lyle Kaiser was going on, Death Cobra was in the I believe he was, after the initial, initially the crowdfunding, all we were going to get was the Lyle Kaiser action figure itself, and then Tier 1, I believe, Eve consisted of Death Cobra, and then Tier 2 consisted of Lyle Kaiser's signature weapon, and then Tier 3, known as the Nunchaku, which is basically a giant ninja chain, and that he's shown wielding here on the top side of the box. Those are his main weapons in the Transformers Victory cartoon, and then Tier 3 were display stands for him to stand on. So yeah, Death Cobra. This is the first ever action figure that he's gotten, and he, in addition to transforming into a replacement left side arm for Lyle Kaiser, referencing the time when Hellbat here was kicked off the team and was banished due to all the hell he was causing for his teammates. In addition to a left side arm, if you still want to have Hellbat transform into Lyle Kaiser's left side arm, Death Cobra has a fourth mode in addition to Lyle Kaiser's left side arm, and then his robot mode and his vehicle mode of a military chopper. Death Cobra can also transform into a shoulder cannon that can be mounted onto Lyle Kaiser, on top of Lyle Kaiser. So just like the other Generation 1 uncombiner of Piranha on the combined form of the Seacons, Lyle Kaiser now has 7 teammates that transformed into him. Actually, Piranha only had 6 team members, just like Devastator, but yeah, anyways, with the inclusion of Death Cobra, Lyle Kaiser now has more, with 7 team members transforming into him. Lyle Kaiser is made up of more Decepticons than any other combiner from the Transformers Generation 1 line, and one of the reasons, in addition to being a character from Transformers Victory, one of the reasons Hasbro decided to make Lyle Kaiser a HasLab crowdfunded project was the fact that the way Lyle Kaiser was advertised in Transformers Victory is that he was the most powerful of all the Decepticon combiners that had come before him, and part of the reason why there was some legitimacy to marketing and advertising Lyle Kaiser being the most powerful of the G1 Decepticon combiners is this simple fact. The original Generation 1 version of Lyle Kaiser, unlike all the other combiners whose body parts such as the heads, the hands, the feet, the pelvises, the waists, and even the chest armor, those parts on the most of the Generation 1 combiners, whether they were Autobots or Decepticons, were all separate pieces that you had to attach once you had the actual robots combined together to form the combiner. But with Lyle Kaiser, the only extra part he had that had to be detached and reattached every time you combined and uncombined him, was the helmet for his robot mode head. All the other parts on Lyle Kaiser were integrated into the 6 Decepticons that originally combined into him. Lyle Kaiser's feet were incorporated as full-time body parts for Drillhorn and Kill Bison. The hands were permanently integrated into Skyhawk and Hellbat's body parts as well. The hips for the upper half of Lyle Kaiser's legs were a part of Jaguar's robot mode, and then which only left the helmet having to be attached and detached every time you would transform Lyle Kaiser, since the way the way his Generation 1 action figure transformed, the helmet for Lyle Kaiser's combiner head couldn't actually store and be a permanent part of Leo Zach's body. I don't know, I don't remember from the product photos I've seen if the helmet is actually permanently attached and is a part of Leo Zach here for the HasLab version of Lyle Kaiser. But yeah, it is nice that we managed to get Death Cobra included here. Some fans and collectors I've already seen complain that Death Cobra shouldn't have been one of the tiers. He should have been automatically included as to reference the Transformers Victory cartoon and give the gimmick of Lyle Kaiser having a replacement limb. But yeah, overall, I'm just thrilled with how he came out. So, thank you guys all so much for listening to me Babylon on with my thoughts on Lyle Kaiser and the Transformers, the armors, the way they've been distributed this year in 2026 in general. Thank you to all my friends and subscribers for your continued support. This has been the TFangy with my latest haul of Transformers action figures. And until next time, you guys, please remember, collecting is a lifelong hobby. As long as you enjoy it for the rest of your life. And until next time, you guys, please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.